Hey guys, hope you're doing well. In today's video I want to talk about a species of aquarium fish you'll see in pretty much every local fish shop. The fish we're going to be talking about today are called tetras. Tetras are probably one of the most popular species of aquarium fish you can get out there. They are a very diverse group of fish coming in many different colours and shapes. They're also a really hardy species which makes them really good for beginner fish keepers. Pretty much all tetra species are peaceful and not fussy eaters, which makes them really good for community aquariums. They are a very low maintenance species which makes them one of my favourite fish to keep. So in this video I'm going to be giving you guys my top 5 tetra species that you should be keeping. Let's start off with the black neon tetra. They do look very similar to neon or cardinal tetras, but instead of a red bar on their belly they have a black one instead. They also have this really nice bluish silver iridescent bar on the top half of their body too. This makes them stand out really well, especially with all the greenery in a planted tank. These tetras come from the Paraguay basin in southern Brazil. Because this fish is found in this location in Brazil, they generally prefer more acidic water. A pH between 5 and 7.5 would be really good for them. In terms of water hardness, they do prefer it on the softer side, but they can also adapt to live in harder water too. If you do find some temperate ones, they're more adapted to live in harder water and less acidic conditions. The temperature of your aquarium water should be around 24 to 28 degrees Celsius, which is roughly about 75 to 82 degrees Fahrenheit. These guys can grow to roughly 3 to 4 centimeters in length. That's roughly around 1.2 to 1.4 inches in length. Just like all tetra species, they do really well in groups. Try and keep them in a group no smaller than 6. But the bigger the group of black neon tetras you can have, the happier and safer they'll feel in your aquarium. Here we have a classic tetra species. These are cardinal tetras. They are probably the second most popular tetra species out there, just behind neon tetras. In this footage here you can see why many aquarium keepers want to keep them in their tanks. Their colours are so striking and vibrant. They have this really nice bright blue iridescent stripe. You can imagine against the backdrop of plants in your aquarium they'll stand out so well. In the wild, cardinal tetras can be found around the Rio Negro in Brazil. In this location they're found in flooded forest streams, and in these streams there's a lot of leaf litter which breaks down and decays into the water column. As these leaves decay they release humic compounds into the water. This stains the water brown and makes it more acidic and more softer too. The pH of the water they can be found in can range from 3.5 to 7.5, and the water they can be found in is very soft too. If you do manage to buy wild caught cardinals, it's better to keep them in softer, more acidic water. This will help to mimic the water they found in the wild and make them happier in your aquarium. If your aquarium's water is on the harder, less acidic side, I recommend getting tank-bred ones. Tank-bred cardinal tetras can be a little bit more hardy and more adapted to living in harder water conditions. Cardinal tetras do prefer the water to be on the warmer side. A temperature between 24 to 29 degrees Celsius will be good for them. In Fahrenheit that'll be roughly around 75 to 84 degrees Fahrenheit. These tetras can grow to be about 2 to 3.5 centimeters in length. That's roughly about 3/4 of an inch to 1.4 inches in length. As with all tetra species, they are schooling fish, so they do prefer to be in groups. A group of 6 is a good start, but the more you can have the better it will be for them. Also, when you get larger groups like the one you see in the background here, they start to show some really good schooling behaviour too. Once you get a school of about 20 cardinal tetras, they look stunning in any aquarium. If you go for a small school of cardinal tetras, an aquarium that's about 60 litres or about 13 US gallons will be good for them. But if you wanted a larger school of cardinal tetras, say about 25, you'll need an aquarium about 90 litres or about 20 US gallons. Cardinal tetras are such a great species to keep, they're so eye-catching and look great in any aquarium. I find keeping cardinal tetras was much easier compared to keeping neon tetras. Moving on to probably the best schooling tetra you can buy, these are Rummy tetras. These tetras have really shiny metallic silver bodies with a red spot on their head. The red spot on the head contrasts really well with the silver on their body, which makes them really attractive fish to keep. These tetras can be found in the Rio Orinoco and the lower regions of the Amazon basin in Venezuela and Brazil. Just like cardinal tetras, these Rummy tetras come from water that are stained brown from tannins. To keep them happy in your aquarium you need slightly acidic water. A pH between 5.5 and 7 will be really good for them. You should also aim to keep them in water that's soft to moderate. If you do have harder water, the drip acclimation method might be the best way to get them used to their new water conditions. Like with many other tetra species, Rummy tetras prefer water that's around 24 to 27 degrees Celsius. In Fahrenheit that's roughly 75 to 81 degrees Fahrenheit. Out of all the tetras on this list, Rummy tetras are the biggest ones. These guys can grow to be about 5 centimeters in length or about 2 inches. So to have a decent sized school of these guys to keep them happy, you're going to need a bigger tank. In the background footage you can see they're really fast active swimmers too. A small group of 8 will do well in a 60 litre aquarium, which is roughly about 13 US gallons. But if you really want to see these guys in their full glory, I recommend getting a group of 20 and putting them in about 120 litre aquarium, which is about 26 US gallons. The more Rummy Tetras you can keep in your aquarium, the more likely they'll school together really well. Even in lower numbers, I notice they do school together pretty tightly, but to make them feel comfortable, larger schools are often better. So by having a larger aquarium, you can accommodate for this larger school of Rummy Tetras. It's really fun to watch them school around and dart around a large aquarium. Also, a little thing some people might not know is that you can tell the healthier Rummy Tetra by the colour of its nose. If your Rummy noses have a really bright red nose, it means they're comfortable in their environment. But if you start to notice this red nose becomes a bit more paler in colour, it means there's something wrong with your aquarium. It could be down to water quality, or it could be down to the fish being ill. It's a really useful way to tell the healthier Rummy Tetras. Here's a Tetra I think gets overlooked quite a lot. These are silver tip Tetras and they have such a striking appearance. The males have a nice orange-yellow kind of look to them with some silver accents on the fins. The females have a silver body, but they still have the white accents on the fins. This difference in coloration makes the school interesting to look at. Silver tip Tetras come from the Rio San Francisco basin in Brazil. In the wild they can be found living in creeks, which are both clear water and black water environments too. Since they do come from both clear water and black water environments, a pH between 6 to 8 will be good for them. Softer water will be better for them, but they can tolerate moderately hot water too. A good temperature range to keep silver tip Tetras will be between 23 to 27 degrees Celsius. In Fahrenheit that will be 73 to 81 degrees Fahrenheit. These Tetras are on the larger side. They grow to be just below about 5 cm in length, which is roughly about 2 inches in length. They are active swimmers, and because of their larger size they do prefer more space in an aquarium. A group of 6 to 8 would do well in an aquarium that's about 60 litres or 13 US gallons. If you did want a larger group, say about 12 to 14, you should try and go for a 90 litre aquarium, which is about 20 US gallons. The more space these fish have to swim, the more active they'll be in your aquarium and the more likely they'll school together too. When silver tip Tetras become mature and comfortable in your aquarium, they'll start to show off more interesting behaviour too. The males in particular will start to colour up a lot more, especially if you've got females in the school. They are apparently very easy to breed in the home aquarium, so you might get some breeding behaviour too. I think silver tip Tetras are quite overlooked as a Tetras species, so I recommend people give them a go. Next up we got Ember Tetras. These are a relatively small Tetra with a bright orange appearance. When these Tetras settle down and mature in your aquarium, the orange gets so much more intense. Many aquascapers choose Ember Tetras for their planted tanks, so they complement the whole aquascape really well. In the wild, Ember Tetras can be found in the Rio das Mortes region of Brazil. Again, just like with other Tetras species, they do prefer softer, more acidic water. In the habitat, the pH of the water is around 5 to 7, and the water hardness is soft to moderate. This species of Tetra is quite hardy compared to other species. With careful acclimation, they can adapt to live in more harder, less acidic water. I believe a lot of them are tank bred too, which means they're more adapted to live in harder, less acidic conditions. A good temperature for them will be around 23 to 28 degrees Celsius, or 73 to 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Out of all the Tetra species on this list, these are the smallest ones. These guys can grow to be about 1.5 to 2 cm in length. They'll be roughly half an inch to about 3/4 of an inch. Because of their small size, Ember Tetras are great for nano aquariums. A small school of 6 Ember Tetras will do well in a 20 litre aquarium with about 5 US gallons. But if you want to see these guys really shine, I recommend getting about 10 of them. For this, an aquarium of about 40 litres or 10 US gallons will be really good for them. When you get Ember Tetras in larger groups, they tend to school a lot better and have brighter colours too. This is when these Tetras will be in their full glory. So this has been my top 5 species of Tetras you should be keeping. What do you guys think about this list? Are there any I missed? Leave a comment below, let me know which ones should have been included on this list. I hope from this video you guys have found a species of Tetras you want to keep. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to your channel to see more videos.